Welcome to Defense Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Iran says its missiles struck Israeli spy site in Iraq's Kurdistan region. America can't surpass China's power in Asia. China banks tighten curbs on Russia after U.S. sanctions order. Europe's cargo delays seem short-lived as supply networks adjust. A wary world braces for Trump's return to the White House. Iran says its missiles struck Israeli spy site in Iraq's Kurdistan region. Washington Post. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it used ballistic missiles to destroy an Israeli spy site in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region, according to state media, amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. The Revolutionary Guard Corps said through its media arm early Tuesday local time that the espionage headquarters of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency had been used to plan terrorist acts against Iran, claims Kurdish officials denied. America can't surpass China's power in Asia. Foreign Affairs. The United States should adopt a strategy that prioritizes balancing, rather than exceeding, Chinese power in Asia, according to an article in Foreign Affairs. The article argues that the pursuit of military primacy in the region is unsustainable and that the United States should focus on safeguarding access to strategic locations and key waterways, while helping allies and partners strengthen their self-defense capabilities. The article also suggests that the United States needs to better navigate the region's multilateral institutions to advance its interests and influence, rather than relying solely on U.S.-centered partnerships. Critics of balancing may argue that it would embolden China and stoke fears of abandonment among U.S. allies, but the article argues that a balancing approach would be more sustainable and less risky, as it works with the region's unique geography. China banks tighten curbs on Russia after U.S. sanctions order. Bloomberg. China's state-owned banks are reportedly tightening restrictions on funding to Russian clients as the U.S. imposes secondary sanctions on overseas financial firms that aid Moscow's war effort in Ukraine. At least two banks have ordered a review of their Russian business, focusing on cross-border deals. The banks will sever ties with clients on the sanctions list and stop providing any financial services to the Russian military industry. The move marks an escalation of the restrictions that Chinese state banks had in place since early 2022 after Russia's invasion of Ukraine triggered a wave of sanctions. Europe's cargo delays seem short-lived as supply networks adjust. Bloomberg. Dubai port operator DP World has said that the cargo delays affecting European companies due to attacks on ships in the Red Sea should be short-lived as container carriers and their customers adjust logistics plans to cope with the longer journey. The diversion, which is adding 10 to 12 days to the trip between Asia and Europe compared with the Suez Canal shortcut, will eventually catch up and delivery schedules will smooth out. However, there are concerns that the delays and added costs will come at a time when transportation expenses and geopolitical risks are high on the list of worries for international companies. A wary world braces for Trump's return to the White House. Bloomberg. Countries around the world are preparing for the possibility of former President Donald Trump returning to the White House in 2024. Many leaders are taking steps to reach out to Trump and his supporters in order to better understand his foreign policy plans and prevent any potential harm to their countries. Some nations see opportunities in Trump's transactional approach, while others are concerned about his America First rhetoric and protectionist trade policies. The EU, for example, wants to Trump-proof agreements with the US, while Japan has been working to maintain personal ties with Trump and convey its needs and contributions to his administration. Trump wins Iowa as Republican primary cycle kicks off. Nikkei Asia. Donald Trump has won the 2024 Republican primaries in Iowa, taking around 50% of the vote. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis came in second, with former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley finishing third. Trump struck a moderate tone in his victory speech, calling for unity in addressing the problems facing the country. He criticized President Joe Biden's handling of foreign policy, particularly in relation to Russia and China. Trump has strong isolationist tendencies and a desire to stay out of foreign wars, but his core supporters want him to be tough on China. China rebukes Singapore for congratulating new Taiwan leader. Bloomberg. Beijing has given Singapore a diplomatic reprimand after the city-state congratulated the vice president of Taiwan, Lai Ching-te, and the ruling Democratic Progressive Party for their election win. Singapore's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has previously stated that it has a close and long-standing friendship with Taiwan and the Taiwanese people, and will continue to foster ties based on its One China policy. The One China principle refers to the policy that there is only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of it. Singapore, like most of its neighbors, has sought to balance deep ties with both China and the US amid growing geopolitical competition between the two. Live updates: Israeli soldiers exchange fire along the border with Egypt as regional tensions rise. Yahoo! An Israeli soldier has been injured in an exchange of fire along the border with Egypt, with one person killed in Egypt. Israel said there were 20 armed suspects with hits identified but did not elaborate. The Egyptian military statement said that the suspects were trying to smuggle drugs and that one person was killed and 6 arrested. Egypt and Israel have had a peace deal since 1979, but Israel's months-long war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip has strained ties. With God's eye view, secretive surveillance flights keep close watch on Russia and Ukraine. Associated Press. The Associated Press, AP, has obtained rare access aboard a French airborne warning and control system, AWACS, aircraft, providing real-time intelligence to ground-based commanders. The aircraft has a powerful radar that can detect missile launches and other military activity. This mission comes as the second anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine approaches, with concerns of Russian aggression extending beyond Ukraine. The AWACS aircraft plays a key role in NATO's surveillance system, acting as a shield against potential threats. The French commander of the AWACS squadron stated that the ultimate goal is, of course, no conflict and deterrence. The aircraft is part of a network of surveillance that includes fighter patrols, ground-based radar, and missile batteries. The French E-3F type AWACS can detect aircraft, UAVs, missiles, and ships. The AP journalist aboard the plane observed a distant Russian AWACS above the Sea of Azov, demonstrating that Russia is also monitoring NATO's activities. Russian pilots have previously expressed their dislike at being watched by Western surveillance planes. NATO frequently scrambles fighter jets to intercept Russian aircraft that venture close to NATO airspace. U.S. forces recover Iranian warheads in Navy SEAL mission gone awry. Washington Post. 2 Navy SEALs went missing and are presumed dead after boarding a vessel off the coast of Somalia. The SEALs were attempting to search the vessel for arms, believed to be Iranian-made missile warheads intended for transfer to militants in Yemen. The SEALs were swept away by powerful swells after one of them slipped from a ladder. A rescue operation was launched, with the crew of the vessel taken into custody and the weapons components recovered. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the sixth dimension. Today's news brings us a mix of international developments, from military tensions in the Middle East, to the delicate balancing act of global powers, to the repercussions of geopolitical conflicts on trade and transportation. Let's dive in. First, we have Iran claiming to have struck an Israeli spy site in Iraq's Kurdistan region. Now, whether this is true or not, it highlights the escalating tensions in the Middle East. It's like a never-ending game of spy versus spy, with each side trying to outmaneuver the other. Who knows what they'll come up with next? Speaking of maneuvering, the United States is being advised to adopt a strategy of balancing Chinese power in Asia, rather than trying to surpass it. It's like trying to walk a tightrope without falling off. But hey, if it keeps the peace and safeguards access to key locations and waterways, it might just work. And let's not forget the importance of multilateral institutions in this delicate dance. It's all about finding the right steps, my friends. Meanwhile, China's state-owned banks are tightening restrictions on funding to Russian clients. This is a response to U.S. sanctions on overseas financial firms that aid Moscow's war efforts in Ukraine. It's like a game of financial whack-a-mole, with one side trying to find loopholes and the other side closing them. Round and round we go, where it stops, nobody knows. In Europe, cargo delays caused by attacks on ships in the Red Sea are causing headaches for businesses. But fear not, my friends, for Dubai port operator DP World assures us that these delays will be short-lived. It's like a bumpy road that will eventually smooth out. Just hold on tight and keep those supply chains flowing. Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, Donald Trump. Countries around the world are bracing themselves for his potential return to the White House in 2024. Some see opportunities, some see risks, and some are just trying to Trump-proof their agreements. It's like preparing for a roller coaster ride, not knowing whether you'll be screaming with joy or holding on for dear life. Strap yourselves in, folks. In the realm of international diplomacy, Beijing is rebuking Singapore for congratulating Taiwan's vice president and ruling party. It's like a diplomatic dance, where every step must be carefully calculated to avoid stepping on anyone's toes. Balancing deep ties with both China and the US is no easy task, but hey, that's what they signed up for. Moving on, we have an exchange of fire along the border between Israel and Egypt. Tensions are rising, my friends, and it's a reminder that peace deals can be fragile. Let's hope cooler heads prevail and this incident doesn't escalate further. And finally, we have a glimpse into the world of secretive surveillance flights, where planes with God's eye view keep a close watch on Russia and Ukraine. It's like a high-stakes game of hide and seek, with each side trying to outmaneuver the other. Who will blink first? Only time will tell. Well, my friends, that concludes today's news roundup. It's been an eventful day, full of twists and turns. Now, I turn to you, my loyal viewers. What are your thoughts on these developments? Do you have any questions for me? Let's hear your voices from the sixth dimension. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.